Hey riders, I'm Eric Brown. That's JR Hobbs, and this is the Corked 5 podcast. We're excited to welcome you to the first official one. This is episode 2, obviously. JR was too eager and excited about this whole thing to wait for me, but I'm here now. I'm glad to be with you, JR. Thanks for having me.
God bless you, Eric. That was an absolutely stunning introduction.
I worked on that as I went to go get pizza today. I was like by myself in my car, like, okay.
It sounded like you did, but Eric, you did a great job. Again, guys, welcome to the Corked 5 podcast. This is episode 2, and we finally have Eric Brown. Round of applause.
Yeah! You can add that in later, like a little.
Yeah, we'll do all that in post. It's gonna get high budget, high quality.
You should put celebrities like from like the Oscars or something, like
like a stand-up ovation and everything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. But again, guys, just really want to reiterate this. We're very new at this. Last time I was filming on my camera and then filming my screen at the same time. This time we're doing everything in Zoom, so we're able to kind of seamlessly share my screen so we can watch stuff together. Also have Eric here because Eric is in Ohio and I'm still down in St. Pete. So it might look a little janky right now, but we're going to be getting better. But again, if you guys have any question or any recommendations on what to do, please feel free to drop a comment or email me at corked5podcast@gmail.com, or even leave a little comment or whatever in our Discord, which will be down in the description. So I guess kind of to start things off, Eric, who the fuck are you?
That's a question as old as time. Well, my name's Eric Brown. I grew up here in Northeast Ohio, the Cleveland area. Mm-hmm. For any old heads watching, like the Matt Coplans of the world, I was a Changa kid. So I grew up going to Changa. Was the first skate park I ever went to. And I'm a summer camp director up here by trade. I got a little girl and a wife, and been BMXing since 1998. And so I've been in the game a long time, and that's it. That's pretty much it. I'm pretty much a nobody. I've never been sponsored or anything like that. Just love the game, if you want to say it like that. I have a deep love and appreciation and respect for the game and the people in it, and that's me.
Very nice. Just to put things in perspective, when Eric started riding, I was 4 years old. I don't mean to make you feel old,
dude. I don't know if I've ever done that math before. That freaks me. That's weird for me.
Right?
Wow.
Like I couldn't even walk. Can 4-year-old?
You couldn't walk at 4? Dude, my kid's not even 2. She can walk, dude.
Well, your kid's a freaking brilliant son of a gun, all right?
She is. That's true.
But yeah, so you also might be wondering, how did Eric and I link up, or how do we meet? Because shit, I keep bumping the table. I'm so
table
sorry.
Bumper.
But so Eric moved down here, what was it, 2 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, I want to say it was the summer. It was the summer of 2019, so it was August 2019. I moved to St. Petersburg.
Right. So Eric moved down, and he was working at a bike shop.
Shout out to Bike Room.
You really want to shout out Bike Room?
Well,
they won't even touch a 20-inch wheel anymore. I brought in too many busted up back wheels. They won't even do it anymore.
If you need a bike just to get around St. Pete, shout out Bike Room.
Yeah,
that's all I'll say.
Unsponsored video. Might have to blur that out and just put in shout out Time to Shine BMX.
It's like I'm in like a kung fu movie and my mouth is saying Bike Room, but like,
yeah, and then it's Time to Shine. There we go. I'm gonna take that audio clip and then put it over there. But
actually, my outfit is very St. Pete because I got the profile hat on.
Yep.
Right now, and I got the Bike Room shirt, so I'm very St. Pete right now.
What shorts are you wearing though?
The what's that taco place? The
Taco Bell?
The taqueria place across the street from St.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a pair of those shorts on.
Damn, so St. Pete. I'm Winnie the Poohing it right now.
That's not true. Just a shirt.
But anyways, going back to what I was saying.
Yeah.
I had to true up my wheel or something, and I'm terrible at that. So I brought it into the Bike Room, and I think you were wearing like Van shoes, and you had some sort of BMX hat on, and I was like, okay, this guy might know what he's doing. And then you heard me like spin my elite, and you're like head turned or whatever. And
yeah.
Basically from there, we just introduced ourselves and then met up at like St. Pete a few days later, and from there we've just been best friends.
Yep. So, yeah, I knew nobody down there, especially BMXers. Yeah, I was working at the shop. I usually keep my back turned to people because I don't want to deal with them. And I think I had an S&M hat on, and I heard I heard that elite hub fire up, and I was like, "Is that a BMXer over there? What's going on?" And he seemed like a nice guy, so we got some sessions in, and now we're homies.
Absolutely fooled you. I'm not a nice guy. But yeah, and then I mean, it's 2022, so about 2.5, 3 years later, I've gone up to Ohio, stayed with him, gracious host, him and his now wife Mary, let me stay there in the midst of the pandemic. So big old flight risk there. Yeah,
that's right. That was kind of because we were wearing masks in Rays, weren't we?
Yeah, like you drove up and we were both wearing masks. So that was great. Road Rays. Definitely want to make a trip back up because we got to ride some outdoor parks. And now that I'm gonna turn into a dirt jump style guy pretty soon. We got to hit some Ohio dirt jumps.
So I like to see. Yeah, my buddy Billy. If Billy, you're watching, shout out to Billy and his jumps. Billy Howard, Northeast Ohio legend. He's got some great jumps.
They're not too big. I mean,
they're not too big. The biggest one's like 6 feet, 7 feet. The lip, small.
I can do that. I mean, I'm still a flyout king, but I think one day I'll get there. So yeah, Eric's just a bit of background on his style. He's super style steez, mid-school rider. But run us down on your bike, because you said you just got some new parts for it.
I did just get some new parts. Up here in the north, it's pretty standard to go through a Albies, which I wouldn't say is a competitor of Time to Shine, so we can talk about them. Yeah, I just got a new back wheel. My old wheel blew up, and so I just got an Antigram laced to a 7X, and then I built that one on my own, and then I just bought a complete front wheel. I didn't want to mess with it. I got a Van Duro laced to a 7X and all black. So now my bike right now is all FBM or all Odyssey. Like the whole thing's FBM and Odyssey, which I'm really stoked on, because when I was a kid growing up, Odyssey was like the thing. Like I remember when this kid down the street got Odyssey cranks, and we were like, aftermarket parts, like that blew our minds. And then so Odyssey's always been in the game. FBM's been my favorite forever. So my bike right now, 100% FBM, 100% Odyssey, and so I'm really stoked on it. It looks cool. It looks mean. It's all like dark and black and just mean looking. So I'm really into it.
How much tie do you have on it?
How much what?
Titanium.
Steel is real, dog. Yeah,
just like the absolute polar opposite of my bike. If you guys don't know, I have a super park setup, total BMX frame, bars, forks, profile stuff, and whatever titanium I can get my hands on, I'm putting all the tie.
I'm pretty sure you had tie spokes at one point.
Yeah, I still have tie spokes, tie bolts, tie stem bolts, tie driver, tie spindle, all the tie.
Yeah, I'm all steel on my setup. I have a street frame, but my front end's very trails, because that's kind of who I am. Like I'm kind of like street and trails mixed together. I totally mess around in parks and enjoy park riding, but my style is more, trails and street. So my front end is very, very trails. Super high 2-piece bars and a top load stem, and raked out 20 or 32 forks and like all that stuff. But then my frame is definitely a street frame. So
nice.
Yeah.
I actually rode street the other day, because we're filming on Thursday, the November 2nd.
Who's filming?
We're doing this podcast. We're doing this podcast on November 2nd, but it's coming out this coming Monday. So gotcha. I guess last week's video, we're doing like a whole time warp right now. I actually did ride street. I rode a Jersey Barrier DIY spot. You haven't even seen it yet, Eric.
Sick.
I got some sick clips on it.
I'm excited to see them. Always excited to see you produce some clips.
I'm an absolute park rat, but I do like to dabble in street, and I do have a street build that I am working on, which Eric actually rode last time he was down here. Even though it
Yeah.
did have a front wheel with tie spokes on it, but whatever. It has pegs and it has a free coaster that's street enough.
If you could get some real front wheels on there for me, just so I can do some Smith grinds, you know,
Yeah, I'll work on that. We'll get something built up for you.
cool.
So I guess what got you into riding here?
I'll try to keep it short because it honestly is a really long story, and it's also a bit of a sob story, but I'll try to keep it lighthearted and I'll try to keep it short. So I grew up incredibly poor, like very, very poor. If you don't know what a wick box is where you like waited for the government to like drop off a box of food at your house. I remember sitting on my porch like waiting for it.
Damn.
So end of sob story, really, really poor. When I was 10, my mom was at a bar somewhere while I was at home alone.
Are we still we're not out of the sob story part?
No, it's all laughs now. And she was kind of telling like our story basically to anybody who would listen. And this guy overheard it. And this guy was like a new philanthropist. And he owned a factory in like a gravel yard. And he had recently sold it. So he just came into a bunch of money. And he also grew up poor, so he didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
And so apparently that's what this guy did. He would just go around, we grew up in a very poor area as well. He would go around and he would listen to people's stories and hear about their struggles. And he would just give them money. He didn't own a charity. He didn't own a nonprofit. He just did this himself. And so he basically asked my mom, what do you and your boy need? Like, what's going on in your house? And at the time we needed a toilet because our toilet was completely broken. Not just didn't flush, like broken. And we needed a toilet. I needed a winter coat. And he's like, I got you. I'm going to take care of all that stuff for you. And then he said, well, what does he want though for Christmas? Like, we got your needs met. What does he want? And she's like, he really wants a bike. At the time, I had no clue what BMX was.
Right.
But he went to the local bike shop, which is called Ernie's Bike Shop, one of the best bike shops ever. There was a guy there who was a manager at the time. He was an old 80s BMXer, like late 80s, early 90s BMXer. Scott Cunningham, really great guy. He heard the story as well, and he's like, this kid sounds like he needs a BMX bike, like something that he can grow up on and have the bike for a long time. Because BMX bikes, like, by design are for children.
Right.
But you can grow up into them and still ride them, later. And so he thought that's perfect for a poor family. So he gets me a Mongoose Expert, which was Dennis McCoy's bike, and a 2-year subscription to BMX Plus.
Oh, sick.
Which BMX Plus was kind of like the cleaner version, I guess, of Ride BMX. Where if Ride BMX is Thrasher, BMX Plus was kind of like Trans World.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I get this bike for Christmas and I'm just over the moon excited about it. And then once a month, these magazines start rolling in and I start reading them and I'm looking at the pictures and I still, because I'm a dumb 10-year-old, I have zero concept of what BMX is. Like, I know that these guys are doing cool tricks or whatever, but like the names of the tricks, the names of the riders, like I'm not retaining any of that information. I just thought it was really cool. So when I was 12, my BMX bike got stolen and my subscription ran out. And I remember thinking like, man, I really miss that bike. And I don't know what was going on in those magazines, but that shit was cool. Like, what's going on? So at the time, I didn't really have a ton of friends. I was like a comic book nerd in a town that only cared about baseball. And while I loved the game of baseball, I wasn't good at it. So I just didn't have a ton of friends. So I befriended this kid who was an inline skater. And he's like, hey, I know this kid at another school who's into BMX like you. And I was like, I'm into BMX. Like, I remember him saying this, and I was like, I have the magazines, but I don't know if I'm into it. And he's like, he'll help you get a bike. I'm like, okay. So he introduced me, and this kid is like the coolest dude ever. His name's Darren King. And he was a racer and a freestyle rider, and he was my age. He was a couple of months younger than I was.
Okay.
And he had an extra bike, and he straight up gave it to me. It was like an old GT, I don't know which one, but I knew it was a GT. And he straight up gave it to me, and him and I started riding. And then the first time that I rode with him and a group of these older BMXers who were probably like 16 years old, and I heard them talk and I saw them interacting with each other, we just rode a ledge. Like all we did was ride a ledge. And I remember, again, having zero concept of trick names, because I remember one of them saying, "I'm going to feeble the ledge." I remember hearing that, but then the dude did a double tire across the ledge. And I remember going home that night and be like, okay, a feeble grind is when 2 tires right across the thing. Like, and so that was kind of like my first introduction to real BMX. After that day, that's when I really say to myself, like, I'm a BMXer. And that was the spring of 1998. Damn. And I turned 13 that August. So you could say I've been riding BMX and considering myself a BMXer since 1998. And that was pretty much it. And then it just all went crazy from there. It took over my whole life, and it's all I ever really loved. I was in band when I was a teenager. I was in bands, and I still collected comic books and was a nerd and all that stuff. But like BMX really was my number one thing I did all the time. So that's pretty much it. That's my story.
Dude, it's funny that you say kind of like the feeble, you thought like a feeble was a double tires, where I feel like now kids these days, like getting into it, are so lucky because there's just so much content, online content for free, that they can just see and then just automatically just call out their buddy and say, "No, dipshit, that was a double tire ride," or whatever, you know. Where back then you were just completely ignorant,
like,
and just be like,
it's a feeble.
That's fact right there.
He said he was going to do one, and then he did one. And the truth is, like, looking back at that moment, I'm pretty sure he meant to feeble and just accidentally, you know how sometimes you're like, you try to feeble and you accidentally get in a double tire and you like freak the fuck out. You're, oh my God, both my tires are up here. I'm pretty sure that's just, totally total street dog. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And then, you know, it was weeks before I saw somebody do a feeble, and so it was a cool feeble. And I'm like, oh, that's a feeble. Got it.
Dude, you could have gotten your ass kicked and said, "No, that's not a feeble."
Feebles with both tires. They're like, "Shut up, noob," you know, like.
Yeah.
But there was a class of guys, like I said, there's these 16-year-olds that were, you know, older than us, obviously, and they knew their shit, man. They were like, they had S&Ms, and they had, you know, like
chain
cool
wallets.
Yeah, cool band shirts and stuff. And we were just like nerdy 12, 13-year-olds that were just like, we love bikes. And yeah, dude, it just kind of, and to be honest, like when I was a kid, like 7 or 8, I remember having a really little Huffy and going off of dirt jumps, but they were doubles, but they were like a foot, 2 foot high. So like I already had the love of riding a bike and jumping a bike off of curbs and like doing wheelies and like bombing down hills. Like that love has been there since I was very young.
It just didn't have a name yet.
Exactly. But I didn't understand what it was, and I didn't understand the deep bag of tricks that existed in the world until I was about 13. Now, that same year, that winter, or no, wait, it had been the winter after that, 1999, we were up at Changa, and it was me and, you know, I'm probably 14 or so at this time. We were leaving Changa, and the dad that took us up there, which was my friend Darren's dad, he talks to everybody. He's like a social butterfly. So he's talking to this dude who's probably in his later 20s, and he's saying, yeah, these boys, they love BMX. They just got into it, and man, I tell you what, like they just love it, and everything you guys do is so cool, and they look up to you. And he said, hold on. And the dude runs to his car, and he comes back with a VHS tape, and it was Road Fools 1.
Damn.
Better known as Road Fools 98. And he says, hey, I've watched this a million times. Give it to the kids. And we went home, dude, and changed everything. Because we had a couple magazines, but we didn't have a video. Like we had never seen a BMX video yet.
Right.
And for him to just give us Road Fools 98 or Road Fools 1, it just blew our minds. Like, I mean, it was like we're on another planet. We never seen or heard anything like it. And that's when shit got real. when we saw Rofels won, our lives changed.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It's funny you mentioned that, because when I kind of had like a similar experience when I first started riding, so I kind of broke that down in the last episode. Before before I started BMXing, I was into skateboarding, and even when I skateboarded, I just had like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, like video games and stuff. I didn't really know what to look for online. And even back then, it was mostly you had to get like DVDs. It wasn't VHSs. I'm not that old.
Yeah, you get to skip that.
But I never knew what like realistic skateboarding looked like. And then going into BMX, I still didn't know what it looked like. There was just a couple local guys that rode, but didn't really hang out with them. It was kind of kind of intimidating, and B, they were kind of dicks to us. But my first BMX video that I watched was Shadow Into the Void, which I must have watched. Jesus. I might have
the soundtrack alone,
dude,
is incredible.
I had that on repeat, and especially Alistair Witten part. I mean, I don't know if I've really said this.
I know
online and
he's
stuff.
probably your all-time favorite rider.
Yeah, I mean, Alistair Witten's part in Shadow Into the Void, that's what I would skip to and just watch over and over and over and over again. And yeah, that's when I first started to actually see what real BMXing looked like. Instead of kind of like Dave Mirra or Dave Mirra's like BMX video games and stuff, where it was just super unrealistic physics and stuff like that, and seeing like these tricks are actually done.
Dude, Dave Mirra 1 could be a whole podcast by itself. I'm not kidding. Like, I could talk about that game forever. Funny that you mentioned Shadow. I remember the kind of ad campaign for when Shadow was beginning, and I'm telling you, it was it worked. So I don't know if you know how they did it, but in the VHS early DVD days, they ran these ads that you didn't know what the hell was going on. It would be like a black van would like pull up to like Alistair Witten's walking by himself like in a alleyway, and this black man would pull up, and they'd have fucking ski masks on, and they'd grab him, they'd like duct tape him, and then like peel out, and then it was like Shadow Conspiracy, and you're like, what the
Dude, I've never seen any of that.
It's amazing. And you're like, is it a bike company? Is it a video coming out? Is it a clothing company? Like, what is this?
Damn, that's sick.
Their ad campaign was amazing. They told you nothing other than it was like dark and weird, and like people were getting kidnapped. Like all these pros were getting kidnapped.
Right.
And their original team was incredibly stacked. Their team has always been stacked, but that original team was every big team name at that in those years. And I remember when they first came out, there was guys like me who'd been in the game a while who were very dubious of any new companies because you were always afraid that they were just trying to cash in on BMX, right?
Right.
So if you hadn't been in the game in a while, you weren't a clothing company or a bike parts company or something, we were like, are you flavor of the week, or like, what's your deal?
Yeah.
But when Shadow came out, everybody bought in. They're like, that's fucking sick. That looks cool. Everything looks cool.
They're so core because I mean, Shadow's kind of like I think it's Sparky's that owns Shadow Sabrosa, and it was also UGP, which was a clothing brand, right? They didn't do any parts.
I think maybe they did seats,
and like sprockets, like easy stuff to kind of produce, if that.
Yeah, UGP was fucking legit. I remember the day I got my UGP hoodie in the mail, and I was like, I'm a BMXer now. Like, I remember that was like because where I'm from, it's cold. So
yeah.
The best thing ever up here is like when it starts getting chilly out and just riding street by yourself at night, and you need a good hoodie. And like, I got this UGP hoodie, and I was like, this is what's up. I didn't know that there's a connection between Shadow and UGP. That's interesting.
Yeah. So because it's all based out of Orlando. And going back to that hoodie, you guys can go to lymbmx.com and experience that same feeling. Buy yourself a nice shirt. Buy yourself a nice hoodie. Yeah, it's great quality stuff. Link is down in the description.
Yeah, but and Time to Shine's from
West Virginia,
which is a neighbor here. And a fun quick West Virginia fact, not to get too much into the weeds, is maybe the best prefab park I've ever ridden is in West Virginia.
Okay.
It's a town called Morgantown, and it's actually at a state park. But it's like in the back, and it's a very well kept secret. Like the best quarters, everything's metal. But I'm telling you, you would love it. You'll go nuts, man.
I need to see this.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome.
Morgantown State
Morgantown,
Park.
West Virginia, State Park, skate park. I would probably work. Nobody rides it. I've been there multiple times, and yeah, that's it right there, Marilla.
Oh boy,
dude! I know it looks like a lame prefab park. I get it.
But here's the thing, and
it has a Spox. It has the sickest Spox. Look at that Spox.
Yeah. Oh wow, yeah.
Dude, the flow of that Spox and that quarter over there, and then this big long quarter that steeps up. You see how it kicks up?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, the tall part of that quarter is the nastiest, most fun quarter I've ever ridden in my life. It's so fun. It has like weird street stuff surrounding it too, and
it's got a nice mini ramp.
Yeah, it's right by the river. I think the Shenandoah. That's beautiful. I love that place. No one's ever there.
Huh.
I'm surprised at these pictures that there's people there.
I mean, yeah, here's one guy.
That might be me.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, I've always held firm on this. Like, you can have an absolutely insanely big park. Like for instance, St. Pete. St. Pete's a really big park.
Huge.
But you got if the stuff's not in the right spot and it doesn't have that flow and it doesn't have the right ramps and they don't feel right.
Yeah.
It's something like this can be way better if that's way smaller. Yeah. And
there is something magical about this park that we're looking at right now. I know it looks like a lime prefab. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I've never had a bad session there. I think I've been 4 times. And those quarters, there's something about the geometry. It's perfect. Every skate park in the world should go there with a piece of cardboard and a marker and replicate those quarters. I'm telling you, it's awesome.
Damn. Yeah, that's kind of my similar feeling to that Northport skate park that's just south of Sarasota, which I've taken you to. Yeah, it's not the biggest, but it has the right stuff in the right place. Like, and all the quarters are absolutely perfect, except for the big one after the big pyramid. That's right. A little bit too steep, but everything else is so nice.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head saying that it's not quantity, it's quality. Yeah, quality. You know what I mean? And also don't judge a book by its cover. If I saw pictures of that place online, I'd never go.
Yeah,
but we just knew that it was there. No idea what it looked like, and when we first rolled up, we were like, "Damn, you know."
Here, this comes to mind because this past summer I went to this place right here, Nashua Skate Park in Nashua, New Hampshire.
Yeah, I don't know about that layout though.
Yeah, but looking at it, your free meeting will end.
We haven't been on here for an hour.
Yeah, no.
Have we?
I don't think so. Maybe we'll have to do another one because we have 10 minutes left. We'll just do another meeting. We're still figuring out the kinks in this. I just got a notification that we have 10 minutes left in this, but we have a lot more to talk about. So this park, I looked at it, looked insane, and drove 2 hours to go ride it by myself. Yeah. Got there, all of these quarters hit vert, and it was terrible.
Jesus.
0 flow, but it just looked incredible. Like back here, like this thing looks like a big nasty quarter. No, it's like a quarter to kind of bank that's curved. These things are stupid steep. This thing is probably 7 foot tall. And then this tombstone has like a foot of vert. The only nice thing about it was there was this like hip right here, like a quarter to bank hip that was opposite. So it was like a nice 270 hip. But other than that, it was a doo-doo park.
It does not look fun.
Like this guy right here, you're lying. Not 5 stars.
He doesn't. He's got 4,000 views.
I wonder what that's like.
We gotta call each individual person that watched that and say he's lying.
He's a liar. He's fooling you.
I'll be like, what are you talking about?
But yeah, wait. Okay, so much for not going off on a tangent. What the hell were we even talking about?
I think somehow it was we were talking about Into the Void.
Into the Void.
I don't know if that's
YouTube.
like a subject that we're trying to hit today, but I think that's how we got here.
I think we're just flowing at this point. Like we kind of had a bit of a schedule or a list of things that we wanted to talk about, but we kind of just gone past all that, which I really don't care about because all this stuff is pretty interesting to me, and this isn't something that I usually get to talk about.
If a
So
podcast about BMX isn't just like shooting the shit about
BMX and
BMX,
what are you doing?
and like, yeah, what's the deal? Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So funny thing with the whole Shadow Into the Void thing. So I was a huge Shadow fanboy. I have a Shadow Into the Void poster signed by Alistair Whitten on my wall over there.
That's really cool.
But I think it was my second or third time I went to Woodward. I made friends with this dude named Austin Bonner, and we were homies right off the bat because we were both from Florida. I think it was like midway through the week I found out that his uncle is Ronnie Bonner, who owns Shadow. And so yeah.
Wow.
So he had the connects, super rad dude. And he actually introduced me to Alistair Whitten at Woodward because Alistair knew him. So I was like, mind was absolutely blown at that moment. And I was like, yeah, like the only time I've ever been kind of like shocked to meet like a pro rider.
Yeah.
Because at that point I've been probably watched his section like 200 times, you know? But then fast forward like a year later, there used to be this skate park in Orlando, the Vans skate park, huge indoor park. They held a BMX clinic where they had Vans pros come and teach everyone. Alistair Whitten was there, got into his group and hung out with him. That's actually where I got that poster signed.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And hung out with him for a bit there. And then I think it was probably 3 years later, another time at Woodward, we bumped into each other again. And then, I mean, that's when I've really, really progressed. So then we actually started to session with each other. And then he even invited me out to do a show through Woodward. It was sick.
Wow.
Yeah. So super rad stuff. Yeah.
Man, that's cool. That's like a dream. That's like a dream. I had something similar. I was much older. I think it was at Swamp Fest 1 or 2. And for me growing up, my favorite rider ever was Garrett Burns. I had other favorite riders that could be a whole podcast itself. But for the majority of my life, a huge majority of my life has been Garrett Burns. And I hadn't ridden in a while because I was living in Michigan. There's just nothing to ride where I was. It was very, very difficult to find a place to ride and to ride consistently. And I hadn't rode in a while, and I was on a road trip with all my buddies from Ohio to go down to Swamp Fest. And I was like, damn, I haven't rode trails in a while, but they're my fucking favorite. And these look really cool. I'm not warmed up, but whatever, let's go, you know? And so I'm climbing up to the top of the storage container.
Okay.
And that year you had to ride off the storage container. You kind of did a little gap, you landed in a lander, and that was before the first jump. And then you went through. And so I'm going up the storage container, and I'm in my own head so much and so freaked out that I'm going to get broke off because I haven't touched my bike in like months. And all of a sudden I'm at like Swamp Fest trails, which trails number one are spooky if you're not a trail rider. And then add that on top of like their Swamp Fest trails. So like they're weird. They purposely make them strange or offset or whatever. And I'm in my own head so much that I don't know.
The other thing, not only are they weird and strange, but they also have the moats on the side of them.
They're surrounded by nasty water, like beer and piss.
Nastiest water. Like it started out just like hose water, but turned black by the end of it.
Trails are bad enough where you're worried about your bike shooting off into a tree or something, you know, but like now you got to worry about it going into like
swamp water,
Florida water.
Yeah.
I would call it Florida water because there's so much beer and like heroin in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm in my own head about exactly that. The moat and this, and I haven't rode and this and everything. Fuck, here we go. And I get up there and I'm kind of stalling. And there's a moment where I'm thinking, I'm going to get down and I'm going to be the guy that gets embarrassed in front of all these people because the line's really long.
Yeah.
That's how spooked I was. And I hear this voice, like the voice of an angel. I'm just an absolute angel. And he goes, "Hey man, you coming?" And I look over and it's Garrett Burns.
Hell yeah.
I had no idea he was next to me.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea he was in the line.
Damn.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. He's like, cool, I'll pull you in. And we just go. And I
Mm-hmm.
follow Garrett Burns through these trails. I fucking
Dude,
made
that's
it.
sick.
And I remember like going off that thing and I'm looking up ahead as I'm going off the first jump. I'm looking ahead. I'm like, that's fucking Garrett Burns. Like, what is my life right now?
Yeah.
And dude, it was just like such a surreal, like cool moment for me. And if I was a little younger, I probably would have asked for his autograph, but I was a little embarrassed.
Right.
I did fake interview him later.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, I was going around with a water bottle
Right.
turned upside down and pretending to interview pros and just like asking them goofy questions and just messing
Mm-hmm.
around. And we kind of like shot the shit a little bit and everything. And he's just such an awesome guy and such a huge influence on my life. So hearing your story that you had something similar with Alistair Whitten, I know the gravity of that moment in a BMXer's life, regardless of your age.
Yeah.
Like I was 30 when this happened, you know, and it was still monumental for me. So
yeah, no, and I mean that's I'm sure you guys watching have hopefully had a moment like that and kind of get where we're coming from, because it's really cool. And kind of going back,
if you have, hit us up and we'll get you on here and we want to hear your story. Even
yeah,
if you're not on the podcast for the full hour or whatever, like
yeah,
I would love to hear every first time I met a cool pro and what happened story. Like they're the best, you know.
Yeah, shoot us for that. Shoot us an email at corked5podcast@gmail.com, and we can schedule something where you can hop on, like just type up a quick story about it, and we'd be happy to get you guys or get one of you on here to kind of share a similar story, because I think this is sick. It's really cool, because I think these are the moments where they really solidify like the love of BMX and all that kind of stuff, and you get to meet your heroes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That kind of recently happened to me with Scotty Kramer, because growing up, Scotty Kramer.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. I forgot you got to ride with him.
Dude, it was so sick. Like I met him at the Incline Club. God, when I first started, maybe 2010, something like that, and I was just learning tail whips. Oh, we have less than a minute, so we're gonna end this recording and then start up a new one, and then kind of round off this video. So we'll be back here in a short minute. Deuces. All right, sorry about that, guys. We ran out of time in the Zoom meeting. We blew through an hour, and I'm a cheap ass and didn't upgrade Zoom because don't feel like we need to, because I feel like one of you guys are gonna pull through and help us out and figure
sponsor
out.
us.
Yeah, or unless Zoom wants to come through and sponsor us, that'd be great.
We'll figure it out. Discord, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it'll be fine. But yeah, back to what I was saying. So back in like 2010, I was in New Jersey and rode the Incline Club. I only rode it once, and it sucks because back then I wasn't very good. I was just learning tail whips, and I was sessioning the foam pit, and all of a sudden this dude in a full face is just sitting up there next to me, and I'm like, I look over and I think he had like the Monster logo, and maybe he was on felt, so like a felt logo, and I was like, Jesus,
Felt.
that's freaking Scotty Kramer. And so I was like, oh, can you give me a tip on tail whips? And he gave me a couple pointers or whatever, and I basically just like shit myself and went brain dead and don't even like recall what he told me. So I just like did something into the
Did you pretend though? You're like, yeah, that makes sense.
I was like, yeah. And then I like went and did it, and I like maybe landed like next to it, and I was like, thanks, man. And that was about it of the interaction. And then fast forward to a few months ago, I saw that him and Maddie were riding my old local skate park, and I was like, that's odd. And it was like the same day. It was weird because I was gonna take the day off regardless and go down to Naples, which is about 2 hours away from me, and ride that park, because I haven't been there in ages. And I get there and I saw on Maddie's story that they were heading out there, so I was like, hey, I'll be there. And sure enough, they pull up and met each other, introduced each other, and then just had like a 2 to 2.5, 3 hour session. And dude, one of the best sessions. I mean, these dudes, riding with them is just so much fun. Like, talk about just like wanting to push, wanting to like help out, getting stoked on each other, like spitballing different ideas. Like, it was.
Yeah, did you feel like it was like positive pressure?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
going to the last time I rode with Scotty was when I rode my buddy Brian's airbag. I relearned front flips of a session before that, and I wanted to do that like bounce front flip thing, but I was looking at the
Mm-hmm.
airbag and I was like, I don't know, that looks scary. I don't think I have that. I don't think that's in my tool belt at all.
Yeah.
And so I joked around and I was like, because we like gapped it out, and I was like, oh, I don't think I can make the jump, but I know if I front flip it, I can definitely make the longer jump. For some reason, that was in my head. And
Yeah.
sure enough, front flipped it first try. And Scotty's like, well, have you done the bounce front flip? And I was like, no, I've been wanting to, but I'm too scared. And so he kind of walked me through it. And then I did like a couple test bounce or whatever, just to kind of feel it out and figure out where to actually land.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, I think you're good. And so we started to film for his channel or whatever. And he's like, just do one, send it, like a see how it feels. And I look at him and I was like, I'm gonna do it first try. And turn it off, go up to the driveway to the roll in, roll down, boom, first try. So stoked. Like, dude, it was just like the craziest moment. Like to land that first try.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just insane. Like I don't really know how to explain just like how just like high the stoke was, how helpful he was, and just like the energy.
Yeah, it's energy,
unmatched.
man. Yeah, it's that positive energy, and you know who he is. I don't know. I've never met him, but you know, I've seen his videos and his kind of just that positive mental attitude, man. It changes people, it helps people, and pretty cool to land that first try. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I mean,
and that's a credit to the energy that he's providing, and
yeah,
you know,
and that's, I mean, after everything that's kind of that happened to him those years ago, for him to stay into BMX and having the same amount of love, if not more, and still making these videos and just being so positive, it's so crazy. It kind of reminds me of my buddy Derek, who I think you met before.
Maybe.
He was one of my like first riding buddies here in St. Pete, and we still ride all the time. But about 2 years ago, he got into a bad motorcycle accident and ended up losing his leg.
I did meet Derek.
Yeah. That's as soon as you know that the no leg, then you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I went to the hospital with him every day, and the first thing he was asking, he's like, I just want to get out of here and go ride.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he still texts me like every other day, like, dude, let's
right.
go ride. When are we gonna go ride? When are we gonna go ride? And just energy's unmatched. We'll definitely have him on the podcast here
Oh
soon,
yeah, I'd love to hear that story.
He's such a rad dude.
Yesterday or the day before, I was just watching Scotty's Vans Illustrated part,
dude,
and it is so sick. Like, it's so sick.
Yeah,
even in like BMX is progressing so much more quickly now, because of places like Woodward and videos and knowing like, oh, that's a possible trick I can do, and then a 12-year-old does it. You know what I mean? It's like things are just like progressing so much quickly than when I was coming up. But that video is still sick, and he brings these like crazy park tricks to street, and you're like, what the, like, one of those opening tricks is this like crazy 180 to Fufanu to bar into this bank. And I mean, the setup is huge just to do the gap. Just if you were to ride across that first ledge, gap over the rail that he foofs into the bank, I would be stoked on that. That would be like a banger for me.
Yeah.
And this guy's doing 180 foof to bar, and like, that video is so sick.
Yeah,
like I have it saved to my BMX folder on YouTube. Not that that like means anything to anybody, but like, I don't just put whatever in there.
No, it's
like, it's that video part is so good.
Yeah, there's a few riders that I think where their kind of riding still holds up, like even like 5 years later. Scotty, 100%. Like, even his old Felt and Fox videos are unbelievable. I'd even say Harry Main, his like VX edits from back in the day, unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go with the Mira for sure. His stuff is still unbelievable,
dude. It's nuts.
Yeah. And who else would be?
I mean, for me, parts that still hold up is a lot of like the old VHS, just like tapes in its entirety. It's like Nowhere Fast for me.
Right.
Is I still watch that now, and there's people doing feeble hard 180s in that video. And I
Yeah.
think some people have this idea that like feeble hard 180s started in 07. Like, no. No, they didn't. Like, watch Nowhere Fast. People are doing that kind of stuff like back in the day. And
was this feeble like front wheel on, back peg on, or was it
double
tire 180?
Yeah, it was a real feeble. Okay.
Okay.
Oh man. Yeah, I remember writing down trick names so I'd get them right.
Nice.
Like,
quiz
like
yourself.
I remember like ice pick, just back peg, like instead of doing my homework.
Nice.
And that's why I like failed all my classes,
Well,
I remember drawing skate parks a lot in class too.
Oh, for sure. Dude, my engineering
I'm
class.
I'm gonna put a fun box here and a quarter pipe here,
Nice.
Are you doing homework? Yeah.
Geometry.
Yeah. Just writing down my dream parks list, like I'm gonna order this from Dance Comp.
Yeah, getting the old I remember getting the Dance Comp magazine and like circling stuff out, thinking that Santa Claus was gonna bring all that to me.
Now the hardcore thing to do was to take that to your bike shop and be like, get me this stuff.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, yeah, fuck Dance Comp, I'll give you a deal.
Yeah.
They'd be like, hook you up.
Well, I think it's getting to that time. We got a couple Instagram videos that we picked out. No one sent us anything from the last stuff, so this is stuff that Eric and I found and thought was kind of cool and wanted to share. I didn't watch any of the ones that that Eric sent me, and I don't think you watched any of the ones that I sent you.
No, I may have only sent you one. No, wait, I sent you two.
Okay.
I think I sent you two.
Maybe. We'll see. I have them pulled up here, so let's
we'll talk about them.
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
All right. So first one, let me move.
That guy's wrong. Skate park
He's still wrong.
5 stars.
All right, here we go. So this is the first one.
5 stars out of 50 stars, maybe.
Yeah.
Look how white I got just now. All my Native American is lost.
Just washed out.
Just went away.
All right. So this is Georgian. I don't know. I think he's a Greek guy, but I think two of the clips that I have here of this guy. This guy has just popped up out of nowhere for me, at least.
Yeah.
All right. I needed to refresh.
Is it cycling? That's fine. He's getting a hug, so he must have done something.
So
cool.
It is sick.
It's one of those full pipes that is scary as shit because it's got the braces there.
The braces, and look how much it wiggles.
Dude, that's wild, man.
Dude, right?
Yeah.
I've ridden one of like a metal full pipe once at Reed Menzer skate park, and even getting up sideways to like do like a bar end tap on it was so hard.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing this because this is a big radius too.
Yeah. I skied. I clearly never looped a full pipe. Well, let's just get that out of the way now. But I've skied a full pipe before. It's on my Instagram. Like I've gotten like up in them guts. Like nice. I'm like high. And to get that high, and then because this is all pump, you know what I'm saying? He's not cranking to make this happen. This is pure pump, right? So this is pure physics. So here he goes. He's cranking just to get going. He's got the setup.
Look how much this thing is moving.
Yeah, and like you could see him kind of like anti-pump to make sure that his body and his bike went all the way around. What's interesting about this full pipe, full loop thing is for a long time, and you can see Mentally Challenged here says, amazing, never thought it was possible. There's a rider from back in the day named Jim Selinsky. He basically invented every crank grind and pedal grind that there is. Really, really smart guy. He actually bought like physics books specifically to figure out if that was possible. And he figured out forever ago that it was possible. And I think he did it. I think he was one of the first ones to do it. But it was I don't think it was this tight of one and not as scary, especially with the braces. And probably it's wiggling. Look how much it's wiggling.
Yeah. No,
that's not a concrete full. That's not Mount Baldy. Like this is a wiggly ass. You can see that they dug that out probably and put that stone there. Look at the bottom.
Yeah.
Left.
Oh yeah, down here.
These guys worked to get this done. That is badass. That is so badass.
Well, who was it? Chris James, I think, on Colony. Did you see the loop he did at a skate park?
Probably. Doesn't not ringing a bell. Oh, alley into the void. That's gonna be a whole podcast.
Yeah, I was watching it again.
It's got the Rockstar flat bill.
Here it is. This is just stupid. All right. I'm getting a free ad in here.
You don't have YouTube Premium, you chump?
No, I don't.
I'll make you part of my family. I'll put you on there.
This, if you haven't watched this guy, he is a goofy-footed absolute shredder.
But Colony always has like the dopest riders.
Like, dude, look at that. Yeah.
Ooh, I mean, that's a beautiful down can. Oh, dude, my God.
He's your type of rider, Eric.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, look at the spine.
That spine is ridiculous. He hit it like it was nothing.
Dude, I think Alex Hyam did. Look at that thing. He did
Why did he build that?
180 foot jam whip over it.
That thing deserves to be torn down. That should be like the Berlin Wall where they make a big deal about it.
Dude.
And it's like, tear that spine down. And like Ronald Reagan comes back from the dead.
And then people join forces from both sides. And
that damn spine. Only 2 tricks have ever been done on it in the history of the spine.
All right. It's dope. All right. Then this is sick too.
Yeah, I'd be downside flip playing that thing all day. Style. Steez, dude. Damn. Dude. That's a big foot. That's a big one.
Here it is.
Dude, he rides so fast. Oh, it's so sick. Is that the Kentucky one? What is that one?
This one's in Australia. I forget the name of it. But dude, look how beefy that is.
Jesus, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he's off here. In one point,
I wonder if it feels like a it's got to feel like a berm.
I would assume so.
It's got to mess with your inner ear to where you're like, what? You know, like the human body is not built to do this.
Of going up that too.
Yeah.
Just like, because like,
what if you pump wrong? You're dead.
You're done.
You pump wrong, you're toast.
I mean, you fully.
You may as well put your coffin at the bottom of the full pipe.
Yeah.
And that way you just fall into it and then just haul your ass away. Like you're done for.
Yeah, I mean there's no messing about on something like that.
So if you look, I bet it is kind of like it's no physics wise, right? It's no different than the bottom of the pipe. So look at his legs.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what that guy did to get around the small one.
Yeah, and you probably just have to guide it with your head. You
gotta let it go where it wants to.
Yep,
and then you pump out, and then you straighten your legs on the way out,
and not force it around. Because like at
you like to go upside down.
Yeah, I do.
So out of the two of us, I think you should be the one to full pipe someday.
Dude, I've been wanting Swamp Fest to build like a normal full pipe, but the one this past time was
it had a gap.
God off. No, I want to do an open one. They didn't have an open one at the past one I went to.
Oh yeah.
But the one they did have this year, I think it was opposite way for me, but it also kind of like peaked like that.
But is it opposite if you're upside down?
Well, the way you would carve, it was opposite carve.
I know, but now you're upside down.
You're still going.
The rules are different.
It's just a road. It's just a road.
It's like a mirror. It's like a mirror dimension. Everything is different. As soon as you get here,
I thought I had it figured out in my head. Now you've just made it so much more confusing for me. So I appreciate that.
You know, I love to talk about this stuff because, like,
dude,
like when we talk about decades, I'm always like, or opposite 360, opposite downside whip.
Regular 360, opposite down whip, or oppo 3 down.
Or is a tail whip technically an opposite 360 decade? An opposite 360 decade is technically a tail whip. I just want to put that controversy out there.
Okay, I'm so glad that's now in there, and you just stirred.
Because if you think about it, right, your decade, your body's moving this way,
right?
But if you're spinning opposite, you've now canceled out your spin, and so the only thing left.
Wait, who's spinning opposite?
The person.
Okay, it's person.
The person is spinning opposite, but they're doing a decade. So now they've not moved at all. So now the only thing left is for the bike to go around. So technically, a tail whip is an opposite 360 opposite decade.
I don't know what mental gymnastics you're pulling to do that, but it hurts my brain and I don't like it.
This is one of those things I think about, and then like, your wife or somebody is like, "What are you thinking about right now?" And you're like,
Yeah, that means
you don't want to know. Yeah, exactly.
No,
Yeah.
it's just the monkey like hitting the pans together. Bing, 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 bing. All right, enough of this one because now my brain hurts. Next one.
Sorry to bring that up.
Same dude. Saw this, and I'm a big fan of doing flip fakies, and so I was a very big fan of this clip.
I may have lagged out.
That's all right. What the hell happened? All right, we're back again. We've had some technical difficulties. We got disconnected, but I did find the video.
Can we edit a little like technical difficulties thing?
No,
like the what do they call it? Like the elevator music, and there's like a monkey with like pulling the plug out of the wall.
Yeah, we'll make something cute.
If you could put my face on there, that'd be great.
Okay,
I'm the monkey pulling that cord out of the wall.
I'll do my best. All right, but going back. Okay, this is I found the clip. All right. Here it is.
Yes. Yeah, this is the clip I sent.
Dude.
Sick. Okay.
Like the most ideal spot for that.
Okay, I have a few things to say about this though.
Okay.
Number one, backflip trickery, not my like favorite thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you're probably a little surprised why I sent this. Here's the reason I sent this.
I'm offended.
It's I know, and I don't mean it from a personal thing. The precision that he does right here. Like watch this back tire.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like he caught every bit of that transition.
Mm-hmm.
This is some Jamie Bestwick coming in from a flare shit right here.
Look just right under coping.
Perfect back.
It's not only that, but the way he was able to pop out far enough.
He pops out so
fast. Correction hops and just a nice turnaround.
It's absolutely awesome.
Everything about this was so dialed.
You can see the power in the pump. Look, like you can see his legs.
Like perfectly noses in. Like, dude, look at that. Back wheel is still on, basically.
And you can see he barely hops, so he makes sure that he catches every bit of this transition. And that way, when he does pump his legs here in the next, couple frames.
Well, he's also starting his rotation here too. He's already kind of like getting ready to do the flip before his back wheel's even on.
Because he knows that pump is going to kick him out. Look at it.
And just
whoosh, and then pump.
Pull all the way back to flat.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, just so dialed.
So
wait, how many times?
Sick.
Hold on. He must have done this in I guess the filmer's cropped out. Otherwise, he would have to do this twice. Because you don't see the filmer in that other angle.
Yeah.
But maybe he's cropped out. So this one was
so sick.
Freaking bonkers. But what an ideal spot.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's gonna look at that spot and be like, I don't know what to do on that thing. And he's like, look how much vert there is. I'm just gonna flip fakie out of it. Like that is absolutely sick.
Yeah, that's wild. All right, wow. Then this one's the one you sent me. We can end it on this one. Okay. All right, I haven't watched this yet.
This is sick.
Oh, dude,
like, all right, not like the wildest shit, but like think about the speed you need to do a curved wall ride. He almost doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Because he just manualed out of like that's a tight curved wall ride. Perfect manual, like straight into it.
He didn't cheap out on it and jump out of it early or anything like that.
No.
Like on the second one, he rode as much. He got in as much as he could and rode out.
That's so sick.
That's dialed.
He's the best rider to ever live.
I agree.
I mean, he can just do whatever he wants. Look at this. That defies physics because you have to monster truck curved wall rides. You have to be going fast.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he was
and he's not.
Yeah.
And then he gets all the way around it. Dude, so sick.
Here's just a stupid one. Have you seen this?
Dude, like, I don't want to tell people how to do their job, but I don't know what our BMX is doing here. Like, cool on the way up if he gets out of it more clean.
Yeah.
It's coming out of it that I can't stand. Like,
Yeah,
complete stop, that like weird, like kind of like abrupt hop there at the end.
Did he use his leg? Well, let's watch
No,
that.
he does like a frame stand and like yanks on his
Okay.
seat.
Yeah, I see it.
Or maybe not a frame stand. Maybe he does have his feet on his pedal.
Yeah.
What I do like about it, though, I'll say this, is the originality of sliding up. And I do like that he really keeps his foot off the ground as he slides up. Watch this. You can see him kind of like correct to like make sure he's like not cheating.
But right there is when he should have started to pull up instead of
as you're moving.
Yeah, that would have been cooler. Still insane. Also, can't imagine that park when it's like humid out, how slippery it must be if you're able to go that far doing that. Because it cuts pretty early because he must have just cooked down that bank and then just like set it down. But still,
yeah, like right here, if he would have yanked up right there and did like a slider or something,
that would have been sick.
Yeah, but it is still super cool. I got a couple critiques over it because that's just who I am as a person. But yeah, that's pretty wild.
Well, if you guys want to send us any of your clips for us to check out, unless it's really goofy, we're not going to rip into it. We'll probably honestly get stoked on it.
I will always slightly rip into anything.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
It's just who I am at my core. I don't mean
it makes you better. It makes you better. But yeah, you could send them to corked5podcast@gmail.com or check out Discord, which is down in the description. There is a server or whatever it's called for Instagrams. Just put in your Instagram handle, or not Instagram handle, just the link to the clip, and we'll be sure to check it out. But I hope you guys enjoyed. This went a little bit longer than we thought, but I think it was pretty good because now you really get to know Eric, and I actually found out some stuff about Eric that I didn't know before. So I feel closer to you, buddy, even though we're so far away.
Me too, man. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, again, I hope you guys enjoyed this. We will be doing a new episode of the Corked 5 podcast every Monday. They'll be dropping Monday at 7 a.m. And we just want to get involved with you guys. We'd love to have one of you on here to share one of your stories about meeting a pro or any kind of cool story that you might have. One idea we have tossing around is like street encounters. If you guys have been out riding street and something crazy happened or something crazy at a skate park, we'd love to hear about that. But yeah, Eric, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just excited to get started. I love talking BMX, and to do it in a way where others can kind of join in and feel like they're in on the conversation, have opportunities to engage with us later is really cool. And to just kind of have two very different perspectives and worlds. Yeah. You're kind of newer school guy. Not really. I mean, you're getting up there now. But
wow.
Like park rider from the South, from kind of the new school. Mid-school rider from the north, more like street and trails. I think we got a good thing going, and I think we can make anybody happy, and everybody of every generation of BMX could feel welcome here and enjoy listening to us gab and talk, and I think it's kind of cool.
We're kind of like the yin and yang of BMX.
Yeah.
So, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Corked 5 podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Check out Eric at Eric X Brown on Instagram. Also, check out myself at The Real JR Hobbs. And if you need any bike parts, go to timetoshinebmx.com. They have everything that you need. And there is this organization called VetPaw, Veterans Empowered to Protect African Wildlife. They're doing amazing stuff for the African wildlife. So if you want to check them out on Instagram, it's just at VETPAW. And if you want to donate or anything like that, you can go to vetpaw.org. So be sure to check them out. All the links will be down in the description. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you all next time. Au revoir.
Bye.